Trump's plan to take back the Panama Canal. If you followed his State of the Union, which is not a State of the Union because it wasn't the president or whatnot, his address to the Union, he's very committed to that and Greenland still. So we get this Wall Street Journal video where they are breaking down Trump's plan to take back the Panama Canal. We'll get into it. As always, leave your comments down below. Tear me apart. I don't care. That's fine. Let's go.
Administration will be reclaiming the Panama Canal, and we've already started doing it.
President Donald Trump is doubling down on his promise to take back the Panama Canal.
We're taking it back. We're going to take it back. He just said take it back. That's a good idea.
But can he actually do that? His declaration comes more than 2 decades after the U.S. handed full control of the canal to Panama.
This would be akin to Panama trying to negotiate control over the Brooklyn Bridge or the Statue of Liberty. Panama would never, in any scenario...
But they didn't build the Brooklyn Bridge or the Statue of Liberty. They didn't. Didn't the French build the Statue of Liberty? Anyway.
Other than under threat of invasion, give up this asset.
And he hasn't taken the possibility of a military invasion off the table.
I'm not going to commit to that.
Here's how he's threatening to take back the canal, why the strategy wouldn't necessarily lead to a full takeover, and the risks that come with it. In a trip to Panama in early February, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that Trump had made the preliminary determination that Panama was in violation of a treaty that it agreed to when it took over the canal. An argument he staked the U.S.'s claim on.
Panama, as you know, has violated the agreement, totally violated the agreement.
The treaty requires the canal to be permanently neutral, meaning it can't give preferential treatment to any country. For example, its tolls have to be just, reasonable, and equitable. One of Trump's key arguments for how Panama is violating the treaty is that
it's being operated by China.
China.
We are defined by the questions we ask and the challenges we take on. When will sustainable...
China.
Panamanian authorities insist that Panama is in full...
He really doesn't like China.
...control of the canal, but some of the concern stems from significant investments by Chinese companies in the region, which critics say could have national security implications for the U.S. At the forefront of the conversation are ports at each end of the canal that have been run by the Hong Kong operator C.K. Hutchison. But in early March, that changed.
Just today, a large American company announced they are buying both ports around the Panama Canal.
A consortium of investors led by BlackRock agreed to buy a majority stake in the ports from Hutchison.
BlackRock runs America. Vanguard, State Street, BlackRock. Oh boy.
Move that would bring them under American corporate ownership. But other projects have also sparked concerns for the U.S., like a 2018 contract that Chinese companies won to build a new bridge over the canal. Some experts say it could pose risks.
A bridge cannot control a canal, but a bridge can be sabotaged to block a canal. A bridge can be used to plant scanners and sensors in the rebar and the concrete.
John Feely was the ambassador to Panama under President Obama and during Trump's first year in office, but he resigned over ideological differences with Trump. He raised alarms about China's involvement at the canal during his term. He says that while China doesn't necessarily pose an immediate threat to the canal, in other places, China has been known to
use their commercial expansion as a front for espionage, for theft of intellectual property, for information gathering. So I don't fully reject the president's concerns about Chinese presence in Panama. I do reject the bellicose language and the manner in which he has suggested the United States should address it.
A spokesperson for Beijing's embassy in Washington said China will always respect Panama's sovereignty over the canal and recognize the canal as a permanently neutral international waterway, and that the allegations that China uses facilities for espionage are nothing but slander. The embassy also alleged a large global surveillance operation by the U.S. Trump has also claimed that U.S. ships are charged higher fees for using the canal, which Panamanian authorities have denied. He also stakes the U.S.
Did anyone else confirm that?
his right to the canal on another idea.
We built it. We're the ones that use it.
That it deserves control because of the canal's history.
The Panama Canal.
From 1904 to 1914, the U.S. funded and oversaw the canal's construction, spending about $375 million on the project, the equivalent of more than $11 billion today. As part of the deal to build the canal, the U.S. also controlled the canal zone, and over decades, tension about that presence grew.
It was pointed to by all of the U.S. adversaries in Latin America as a sign of U.S. bullying, U.S. imperialism.
In Panama, an incident over the display of rival flags by Panamanian and American students set off days of bloody rioting.
The reason that the United States handed the canal over to Panama, in large part, was because of fears that managing the canal in a hostile environment might not be possible.
And I believe that this treaty can open up a new era of understanding and comprehension.
The decision to transfer the canal to Panama was made by President Jimmy Carter in the late 1970s.
That was a big mistake. Giving the Panama Canal to Panama was a very big mistake.
Jimmy Carter.
It is amazing to see all the things that Jimmy Carter did, like just a few years before I was born. I was born in 84, so it was Carter and then one term of Reagan, and I was born a few days after he was reelected. So it is interesting to hear all the stories about Carter and what he did. Do you have any Carter stories? Let me know down in the comments below. What's your favorite one? I think he had like a peanut business or something.
Carter's decision was controversial then, and a lot of people, apparently including the current president of the United States, still feel very strongly that that was a strategic error. And apparently the current president of the United States thinks it's a reversible error.
So, can an alleged violation of the Neutrality Treaty actually allow the U.S. to reclaim the canal? Well, not on its own.
The treaty signed in 1977 gave Panama control over the Panama Canal and didn't give any wiggle room for the United States to reassert control when it felt like it.
But Trump is using it to justify U.S. intervention there. The first move the U.S. is making is to negotiate with canal authorities to address the concerns about China. The Panamanian authorities have already launched an audit of Hutchinson and its operations.
Perhaps instead of giving that contract to Hutchinson, which was done in 2021 and renewed for 25 years, perhaps that could go to an American port operating company.
I love it. That's all I got.
Or a European port operating company.
No. You had me, and then I changed my mind.
Secretary Rubio said that if changes are not made, then the U.S. would take measures to protect its rights under the treaty. For example, experts say the U.S. could use a violation of the treaty to try to legally justify a military invasion.
The treaties give the United States not only the right, but the obligation to defend the canal if it can really make the case that Panama is unable or unwilling to defend the strategic waterway.
But Trump has also shown hesitancy increasing the U.S.'s military presence overseas and played down its potential use.
I don't think troops will be necessary in Panama.
Following Rubio's visit, the Panamanian president announced that Panama would not be renewing its memorandum with Beijing's Belt and Road Initiative, a long-term effort by China to invest in infrastructure around the world.
Hold on. Before I see this Rubio thing, I wonder if Rubio went down there and laid all this out and was like, we're taking it back, but we're going to give you some time so it doesn't look so much, but your back's against the wall. I wonder if that's what it went like with Rubio, but I feel like a lot of people like Rubio, so I don't know. When he was sworn, he got 99 votes or something. He only didn't get a vote from Vance because Vance was vice president at the time, so the seat was vacant. Or he obviously couldn't vote for himself. Or maybe he could. I don't know how it works.
Rubio praised the decision on X, calling it a great step forward for U.S.-Panama relations. Outside of the treaty, U.S. companies could invest in the canal's infrastructure to take some of those opportunities away from China.
The United States has fallen down on the job when it comes to promoting and facilitating and incentivizing our private sector to work collaboratively in Latin America on large infrastructure projects.
BlackRock's deal for the ports could help ease national security concerns by increasing the U.S.'s stake in infrastructure at the canal. But in terms of a full takeover of the canal, Trump only really has one option: to buy it or negotiate its ownership.
I'm not talking about taking anything back. We're talking about willing buyer and willing seller.
But
hold on, it cost us $370 million in those dollars, which is 11 billion in today's dollars. We sold it for $1, and now we're going to buy it back. I mean, it's a good buy, whatever the price is. But whoa. I mean, if we could throw in Greenland.
Panama would have to agree to it, and Panamanian protests have made it clear that this would be an unlikely option.
For Panamanians, it is their essential nationalistic touchstone. So no, not one Panamanian is going to support selling or trading the canal back.
Whichever route Trump takes, it stands to have a big impact on relations with Panama.
There is a legitimate concern about Chinese commercial expansion, not just in Panama, but all over Latin America. But if you're going to huff and puff and blow the house down, you're not going to have partners you can work with to address it.
The Panama Canal.
Wow. Based on this Wall Street Journal article, it sounds like it's a non-starter for them. But we'll see. We'll see. I can't imagine military intervention, but stranger things have happened. We're going into some interesting times. Interesting times. So leave your comments below. Check out some products and other videos down there. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and share this with a friend that you want to drive crazy. See you in the next video.